This is the Sweet Cards Dude podcast. Today is February 21st. It is 1:30 a.m. and we are rocking out on the late nights. Today, we'll be talking about the Uconn upset, college football playoff, and some Matt Barnes drama. We got 2 viewers. Thank you for watching or listening. All right. First off, I want to give a big shout out to a couple of my buddies. This is their podcast. Hey, do you have a second? If you get a chance, please go follow them on Instagram and give them a follow. They got some funny content they're putting out. They're haters. HDYHAS, haters. A person who greatly dislikes a specified person or thing, a man hater. She found it difficult to cope with the haters. Just give them a like and a follow. But today we're going to start off number 15 Creighton halts number 1 Uconn's 14-game win streak. Let's give this a little listen. I'm sure a lot of people didn't expect that to happen. But we're going to go ahead and read this from ESPN. Creighton went into its game against Uconn having lost all 6 of its previous meetings with number 1 ranked team and never coming closer than 10 points. The number 15 Blue Jays finally broke through on their 7th try, building a double-digit lead in the first half and knocking off the Huskies 85-66 on Tuesday night. It's a historic game for our program, Creighton coach Greg McDermott said. I told the team in the locker room it's a culmination of a lot of work by a lot of people over a long period of time to give these guys opportunity to wear this uniform and play in front of a crowd we're able to play in front of tonight. We played a really good game and we beat an incredible team, a team that has a legitimate chance to win a national championships. But we're pretty good as well. Creighton 20-7, 10-6 in the Big East, led by 23 points with 10 minutes left, but saw its lead cut to 10 before holding the defending national champion scoreless on 5 straight possessions, rebuilding its cushion and prompting students to leave their seats to prepare to storm the court, which they did as soon as the buzzer sounded. Uconn 24-3, 14-2, had its 14-game win streak, the longest active streak in Division I, in 3 days after it beat the number 4 Marquette by 28 points for one of the most impressive victories of the season, and 1 day after it was voted as the first unanimous number 1 this season in the AP poll. It kind of felt like we just ran into a buzzsaw there, Uconn coach Dan Hurley said. Stephen Ageworth scored 16 of his 20 points in the first half. Trey Alexander finished with 16 points, and Ryan Kalbrenner added 15. The Blue Jays made 14 of 28 three-pointers in their second-best shooting night from beyond the arc this season. Creighton was just 6 of 26 on threes and 62-48 loss at Uconn last month. When I watched the Marquette-Uconn game, I've got to admit, I was feeling warm and fuzzy about our chances, McDermott said. Conditions seemed right for the Blue Jays. They came into the game off a pair of 22-point wins and a 3-game win streak. McDermott said his team's offensive flow has been as good as it's been all season. A rowdy sellout crowd was on hand. The Huskies were playing their third game in 7 days, and Hurley said his players' bodies language wasn't good in team huddles once the Blue Jays took the lead and built on it. I do think we did a bad job coaching tonight. Our players did a bad job playing. I did a bad job coaching, Hurley said. Your huddles aren't going to be super energized when you haven't lost in 2+ months. We were definitely stunned. This wasn't the game we expected. We knew this was a very dangerous game and a quality opponent and one of the better teams in the country, but we didn't expect this to happen. It was the Huskies' 19th straight road loss to a ranked opponent. Their last such win coming at number 19 Memphis on March 13th, 2014. Uconn's Tristan Newton scored 17 of his 27 points in the second half, including 10 during the 18-5 spurt that helped pull the Huskies within 74-64. The Huskies made a season-low three-pointer on 16 attempts in their most lopsided loss since Houston beat them 84-45 in the ACC tournament on March 15th, 2019. They had come into the game off a Big East record, 3 straight wins by at least 25 points. The Blue Jays made 2 of their first 9 shots, trailed by 8 points early, had a leading scorer, Blair Sherman, on the bench for 8 minutes in the first half after he picked up 2 fouls. Sherman finished with 12 points. Even when we got off to the bad start, I didn't see any fear. No concerns in our faces. We just continue to play, McDermott said. The Huskies had problems on their own. Donovan Clinnigan, their 7'2", 280-pound center, was called for 2 quick fouls and played just 11 minutes in the half, and Uconn went through a 2-for-10 spell while Creighton was finding its rhythm. A few big shots from reserves Francisco Fabello and Jason Green sparked an 18-2 run. Fabello made 2 straight threes, and Green hit one from the corner to wipe out the Huskies' lead. Then Ashworth struck from over 30 feet to begin a personal run of 13 straight points for the Blue Jays, who made 14 of their last 19 shots of the half, then went to the locker room with a 43-29 lead. When you're in the home gym, there's a feeling of confidence, and the fans were a huge part of that, Ashworth said. Definitely a home court advantage, and at the first half, we got a little bit of heater. Creighton entered Tuesdays boasting 3 of the top 6 leading scorers in the Big East, Sherman, Alexander, and Kalbrenner. But it was Ashworth who went off against the number 1 team in the country. His 20 points almost doubling his season average of 10.6. The Blue Jays, who have now beaten a top 10 team in 9 straight years and clinched a 20 season for the 9th year in a row, also gave McDermott his 600th career win in remarkable fashion. First of all, I'm old, and you got to be in it a long time to coach enough games to do that. And I've coached at some of good places. I've had some really good players play for me. McDermott said of reaching the milestone. This is one I'll never forget because of how it transpired and how good the team was we were playing. One of the best crowds we've ever had here, but as I said earlier, there's a lot of guys that have played for me here that have put us in a position to win a lot of games because of their sacrifices. Not everybody wants to play the game the way we play it, unselfish and selfless, but we've got a group here that's pretty bought into that. So ESPN Stats and Information and Associated Press contributed to this report, but I don't know. This is big news. I mean, it's not all the time number 15 knocks off number 1, so I don't know. Someone lost some money tonight. I can tell you that. There was a lot of money lost probably. Or a lot of money made, depending on how you're looking at it. I'm not a gambling man, so I can't tell you on that. But the other story that I wanted to kind of talk about that I found on ESPN was college football unanimously approves the 5-7 model for the 12-team playoff. I'm not going to play the video, but I will read Heather Dinich's, an ESPN senior writer's article about this. And so the College Football Playoff Board of Managers unanimously approved a model that will guarantee the 5 highest-ranked conference champions inclusion in the expanded 12-team field this fall, along with the next 7 highest-ranked teams, the CFP announced Tuesday. After months of delay, at the behest of the dwindling Pac-12, the decision was made Tuesday morning in a virtual meeting of the 10 FBS presidents and chancellors and the Notre Dame president, Reverend John Jenkins. They voted to to be unanimous for the 5+7 format to be approved, and the Pac 12 had either previously abstained or asked for a delay as it worked on determining its future following sweeping conference realignment. Washington State's president, Kirk Schultz, who represents the Pac 12 on the board, told ESPN last week he would confer with Oregon State President Jody Y. Murthy and be ready to vote on Tuesday. Neither school can qualify for an automatic bid as a conference champion in each of the next two seasons, so Schultz conceded the 7 at-large bids would be more beneficial to them than the original proposal of 6 conference champions and a 6 at-large teams. The format was proposed before the Pac-12 lost USC, UCLA, Washington, and Oregon to the Big Ten, Cal and Stanford to the ACC, and Utah and Arizona State and Colorado to the Big 12. The Pac-12 and Mountain West have agreed to a temporary scheduling partnership in which Oregon State and Washington State will play at least 6 MWC opponents in 2024. For our 2 schools in the Pac-12, as it's currently configured, there's no question the 5-7 with 7 at large is better than 6 at large, Schultz told ESPN. There's no question our football coaches are going to want to compete for one of those 7 slots, and 7 is going to be better than 6. In most years, the 5+7 format will assure the conference champion from the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and ACC a spot in the playoff along with the highest ranked group of 5 conference champion. The CFL intentionally won't refer to the group of 5 in its description of the format, though, because there's a chance that the champion from one of the Power 4 conferences finishes ranked below the top champion from the American Athletic Conference, Conference USA, Mountain West, Sun Belt, or Mid-American Conference. In 2021, for example, when undefeated number 4 Cincinnati was the American Athletic Conference champion, ACC Pitt finished at number 12 with 2 losses. In the 12-team format, the 4 highest-ranked conference champions will receive a first-round bye. Tuesday's meeting was also an opportunity for Washington State and Oregon State to request Power 5 revenue and voting rights in the new CFP contract. For the next 2 years, the remainder of the CFP current 12-year contract, Washington State and Oregon State will each continue to receive the full Power 5 revenue distribution, which is $5 million to $6 million per school. They're asking continue to receive the amount in the next CFP contract, not knowing what their conference affiliation will be. According to the Pac-12's proposal, which Schultz shared with ESPN, Oregon State and Washington State are asking for a distribution share and voting rights equal to the lowest per school pro rata share of the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, their SEC conference distribution. Regardless of how those 4 conferences actually distribute CFP distributions to their members, we were in a game of musical chairs and the music stopped and we had 2 schools standing, Schultz said. We've invested and been considered autonomy 5 school and conference for decades. We just don't think that because of the musical chairs that the 2 remaining schools in the Pac-12 should be penalized. Mississippi State's president, Mark Keenum, the chair of the CFP board, told ESPN last week that none of the conferences know yet what the revenue distribution will be in the next contract. None of us do, he said. There's a lot of work that's going to have to entail on behalf of our commissioners and others to bring some recommendations to the board. They're not there. We're not there. I hear what he's saying, but I don't know you commit to a school, but I don't know how you commit to a school. I'm assuming what they were supposed to write there. Well, there's an error. The CFP's management committee, which comprises the 10 FBS commissioners and Notre Dame athletic director Jack Swarbach, are meeting in Dallas on Wednesday to continue working on the implementation of the 12-team playoff for the fall, along with weighty decisions about the future, the sports postseason, and the next contract. The top priority, according to multiple sources, is coming to an agreement with a new TV deal, but they will also continue to talk about access and revenue distribution. One change they're also agreeing on, according to multiple sources, is eliminating the contracts the New Year's 6 bowls have with respective conferences in the new contract. The Sugar Bowl has a historical agreement with the SEC and Big 12, while the Rose Bowl has been contractually tied to the Big 10 and Pac-12, and the Orange Bowl with the ACC, Big 10, and Notre Dame. While those contracts are expected to remain for this season and next, there is a desire among CFP leaders to have more flexibility in where teams are placed moving forward, allowing Georgia to play in the Peach Bowl instead of the Sugar Bowl one year if it makes more sense. We've enjoyed a long relationship with the SEC and to a shorter extent also with the Big 12. All-State Sugar Bowl CEO Jeff Hundley told ESPN on Tuesday, "It's been a great partnership for the past 10 years, and while it's unfortunate if that is to go away, we understand the world around us is changing. The Sugar Bowl's position from the outset on The expanded playoff became a discussion. We've pledged to our partners and the rest of the conference that we're going to be a help and not a hindrance in the process. We aim to be stick and we aim to stick to that. I don't know. That's pretty interesting. I'm really, really excited about this the 12 team playoff. It's I don't know, it's gonna be really, really fun when we get that time of year when you have 12 teams playing for the national championship and you have some of those possibly some of those smaller schools and those smaller conferences um, that typically get overlooked, but they I don't know, it'd be crazy. It'd be crazy to see a smaller school just wreck everybody and go through there. But our the last thing I want to talk about was I saw this article about Matt Barnes being removed from Sacramento Kings TV broadcast lineup on NBC Sports California. Um, there's Matt Barnes right there. Yeah, so NBC Sports California's pregame and postgame show will be missing a familiar face when the Kings return from the All-Star break to play San Antonio Spurs on Thursday at Golden One Center. An NBC Sports California spokesman told the Sacramento Bee Matt Barnes will no longer be appearing on the network. Barnes, a Sacramento native who twice played for the Kings during his 14-year NBA career, declined to comment Tuesday when contacted by the Bee. Barnes, 43, was in his third season as a studio analyst at the NBC Sports California after joining the Kings broadcast team in 2021. The change comes weeks after Barnes was seen yelling at officials and confronting a student play-by-play announcer at his son's high school basketball game in Los Angeles. Barnes attended the game between Crespi Carmelite and Harvard Westlake. The Los Angeles Times reported Barnes engaged Harvard Westlake student announcer Jake Lancer during the school's live stream broadcast after one of his sons was whistled for a technical foul. Video posted to social media showed Barnes putting his right hand on Lancer's shoulder before adults intervened. Barnes allegedly threatened to slap Lancer. He said, "What do you think you're looking at?" Lancer told freelance reporter Jack Paulin and said, "You're screaming. You're a blank to the refs mid-game while trying to announce, 'Don't touch me,' and then said, 'I'll slap the out of you.'" Caught in 4K, buddy. Let's see if we can get this to play. Watch it be taken down. No sound, but that's cool. Oh, Matt Barnes. Goodness. Barnes discussed the incident during a recent appearance on the Dan Le Batard show with Stugatz. "I was yelling at the refs, Dan. I've yelled at the refs my entire college career, my 15 NBA career," Barnes said. "I coach AAU in the summertime. I have high school boys, and I have a 5-year-old coming down the pipeline. So I'm going to be doing a lot of yelling at refs. This particular incident, I will say my one mistake was putting my hand on the student broadcaster's shoulder. A lot of people want to say I grabbed this kid or did this. I literally put my hand on the kid's shoulder because it was almost like I was talking to my son. He told me to sit my ass down. I was just like, why do you feel comfortable to be able to tell a grown man to sit his ass down?" So he and I had a little back and forth, and obviously admitting my faults. To even touch him was a wrong of me, but I want to make it clear that the narrative of me as some guy that beats up people, I want people to know I didn't slam this kid. I didn't choke slam him. I didn't do any of the sort. I literally put my hand on his shoulder like I was talking to one of my sons. And again, for touching him, I was wrong, but I just didn't like the disrespect that came with the entitlement where they felt they could say anything to me. Lancer denied saying anything disrespectful to Barnes following the incident, tweeting, "I wanted to make it very clear that I never told him to shut up or anything close to that. He came up to me. All I wanted to do in the moment was get back to announcing the championship game." Barnes starred at Del Campo High School in UCLA before he was selected with the 46th overall pick in the 2002 NBA draft. He played for 9 teams during his NBA career, including the Los Angeles Clippers, Los Angeles Lakers, Golden State Warriors, and Kings. He retired after winning an NBA championship with the Warriors in 2017. The Street recently reported Barnes and Brian Daly, a former Showtime sports programming executive, are launching a production company, All the Smoke Productions, ATSP. The company is named after the All the Smoke podcast, which Barnes popularized alongside another former NBA player, Steven Jackson. All the Smoke production is reportedly bringing in other former NBA players and analysts, including former Kings DeMarcus Cousins and Rajon Rondo, Paul Pierce, and Rachel Nichols. Barnes shared this via social media Tuesday, tweeting, "Cheers to new beginnings." I don't know. I don't know. I understand. They got kind of blown out of context. It looks like he shouldn't have put his hand on that kid's shoulder, and you really shouldn't be yelling at refs. I mean, I know here in Houston, there's a shortage of referees, and we've been told by our high school coaches to not engage in any kind of activity that would make our team look bad, because the refs have the choice to which games they're going to actually pick to referee. And so I don't know. We played a little bit of AAU. We've played a lot of basketball over the years, and I've seen some pretty irate parents, seen some pretty horrible calls too. But I don't know, it can get blown out of context. So just remember, if you're at a kid's sporting event, it's a child's sporting event, or a teenager's, or a high school sporting event. So just keep it in line, people, and everything will work out. But um, thank you all for listening. This was kind of a different format that I was trying out tonight, just kind of checking out some articles. But again, if you get a chance, please go and follow and then ring that little bell for, hey, do you have a second? There'll be some really good content and funny content that's going to come out from hey, do you have a second? But this is the Sweet Cards Dude podcast, and I want to thank everybody for listening tonight. Remember to like and subscribe. Tell all your friends, tell all your family. Let me see. Let's do one more thing real quick. Let's give another shout out to somebody. The Conroe Sports Card Show. Here we go. Let's take a look at this real quick. Yeah, so Saturday, March 23rd from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Sunday, March 24th to 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and trade night, March 23rd from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. This is the Conroe Sports Card and Collectible Show. It's free admission. There will be giveaways and raffles, 200 plus tables. I believe, looks like they'll have drop-offs for Beckett and for PSA. And then we'll also have FCG Forensic Card Grading will also be there, grading cards and taking submissions as well. This is a really, really good local show. So if you get a chance, please go and join the show. Bring some cards, do some trading, do some buying. I will have a table set up there. Another one of my buddies, the Houston Card Exchange, will have a table set up there. And then Chocolate Bayou Card Exchange will also have a table set up there. So be sure to go to the Conroe Sports Card and Collectible Show. But this is the Sweet Cards Dude podcast. And thank you all for listening. And with that, we are going to take it out. Oh, yeah. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Sweet cards, dude.